So far, what we've been able to watch during the orgy of promising to confiscate firearms was this exchange where Biden says we're going to confiscate all semi-autos. That's 90% of the firearms or more in this country, including most hunting shotguns, even though obviously the Second Amendment's not really about hunting. It's about defending yourself from common criminals and also a corrupt, out-of-control government, which killed 200 million people in the last century after they confiscated the guns. That's a lot more than the couple hundred a year that died in mass shootings, which, again, they hype up like it's the end of the world. It's certainly terrible, but microscopic compared to, say, drowning and automobile accidents or drug overdoses or flesh-eating bacteria or drug-resistant germs as well. So they know what they're doing. And then all the studies are out there that hyping up all these big mass shootings that do happen only causes mentally ill people to think about that as something that's an option. It's like having a Chinese food restaurant next to a Mexican food restaurant next to an American food restaurant. You know, if you didn't have this mass shooting restaurant, people wouldn't walk into it. But it's something put out there to weak minds, creating a domino effect or a copycat effect. And again, major studies all admit that anybody can pull that up for themselves. Just type in major studies, prove that the media is actually triggering these with these type of lunatics that are out there, the mass murder pills in the serotonin reuptake inhibitor class. Of course, are known as so-called antidepressants to cause megalomania, psychotic breaks, mass murder, suicide, massively off the chart. It's on the damn insert. So we should start targeting big pharma with lawsuits and calls for them to be blamed for it because they actually are in the wheelhouse centrally, not guns. And then they'll back off real quick trying to take our guns. So there's a lot of ways to stop this situation. But I wanted to play this clip because what's amazing is Harris saying, hey, doesn't matter if it's in the Constitution that the president can't sign an executive order and make law and circumvent the legislative and, of course, even the judicial and take power in a true dictatorship, which they keep saying Trump is doing when the Supreme Court has affirmed every case I've seen, including a huge one just today on his blockage of all Central America on the so-called political refugee status has been proven to be a fraud. That is in the president's constitutional purview. So here is Kamala Harris not just calling for gun confiscation, but saying Joe Biden's weak because he isn't confiscating all of the guns. So let's go ahead and go to that video.
Over 90% of the American people think we have to get assault weapons off the street, period. And we have to get buybacks and get them out of their basements.
In recent days, former Vice President Biden has said about executive orders, some really talented people are seeking the nomination. They said, I'm going to issue an executive order. Biden saying there's no constitutional authority to issue that executive order when they say I'm going to eliminate assault weapons. Does the vice president have a point there?
Well, I mean, I would just say, hey, Joe, instead of saying no, we can't, let's say yes, we can.
Let's be constitutional.
Yes, we can.
And yes, we can, because I'll tell you something. Well, do you think Trump is responsible for what happened? And I said, well, look, I mean, obviously he didn't pull the trigger, but he's certainly been tweeting out the ammunition.
By the way, you can't own the following weapons, period. They cannot be sold anymore.
You said, quote, Americans who own AR-15s and AK-47s will have to sell them to the government, all of them. You know, the critics call this confiscation. Are you proposing taking away their guns, and how would this work?
I am. If it's a weapon that was designed to kill people, hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
Everyone up here favors an assault weapon ban. Everyone up here favors magazine limitations, which, by the way, would have made a huge difference if that was in place.
They know full well you have a couple hundred people killed a year in mass shootings. It's super rare. They hype it up. That actually causes more people to do it. They're hoping for it. These are criminals that want to disarm their slaves. They're fully aware of what they're doing. They don't talk about the 200,000 dead in Mexico the last 10 years, where they have a total ban on guns for citizens, but one of the highest crime rates in the world. Chicago, ban on guns, highest crime rate in the U.S. These dirtbags know what they're doing. They're not idiots. They're wanton frontmen of international criminals that want to enslave this nation. 1776 is why this country started, when the Redcoats came to take the guns. And if they try to take our firearms, 1776 will commence again if you try to take our firearms. Doesn't matter how many frickin' lemmings you get out there telling us that we've got to be your slaves. We're not. Get it through your head.
New Supreme.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's go to Tom Pappert now, and we'll go down the line here and get his take on that amazing exchange we just played right there.
It was utterly disturbing. What was with Kamala Harris there? That was the strangest voice. That woman seems to have 15 different personalities all trapped within her fragile mind. And that was just bizarre. She sounded like a college frat girl who'd had one too many drinks. Hey, Joe, let's just take the guns. It's no big deal, Joe. And say, yes, we can take the guns. It was utterly bizarre. And again, I think it shows that these Democrats, they think that they're either delusional and they think that they finally got the fire in the American bellies to take our guns. And like Alex said, 1776 will commence again, or else they're just throwing it away. They're just throwing it away at this point.
Is it me or did Kamala Harris sound drunk in that exchange? I didn't notice it the first time, but she sounded drunk.
Something is going on.
Oh, Joe.
Just say yes, we can. It's going to be all right, Joe. Just say yes, we can take the guns.
I mean, hey, a little liquid courage. I mean, fine.
And by the way, he wasn't even saying we can't do it if we pass a law. She's saying outside of Congress, and you're the constitutional lawyer. Let's go to Barnes and then to Johnson and Owen. I mean, this is outrageous. He's saying you can't do that. It's unconstitutional. She's saying become a dictator, everything they accuse Trump of. So Kamala Harris just said we need a dictator to circumvent Congress and confiscate 90% of the guns.
Yeah, what she said specifically was, yes, we can violate the Second Amendment. That's what yes, we can means. Yes, we can means that if she's elected, and almost any of the other Democrats who are elected on stage are going to take the position that they can take executive orders beyond even what President Obama was willing to do and to directly infringe Second Amendment rights, according to Vice President Joe Biden. You know, this isn't a liberal or left-leaning position. This is someone on the left, Joe Biden, saying that this would be a violation of fundamental constitutional Second Amendment rights. And the fact that he can say that, and yet the Kamala Harris sort of march on in this cause of confiscation, to where the most viral moment tonight within the Democratic primary process on social media is Beto O'Rourke saying, hey, hell yes, we're going to take your guns. We're going to confiscate your guns. We're going to take them away. So the Democratic Party is celebrating tonight that they are going to obliterate and abolish the Second Amendment rights of ordinary Americans. So it's a precarious time to have only the criminals or the government be in a monopolistic control over guns. The whole purpose of the Second Amendment was to prohibit that exact reality, but Kamala Harris made clear she will make it a reality.
And Bob, you're absolutely right. Everyone's focusing on Beto going, hell yeah, we're going to take all your guns. You damn Americans. He says, you Americans. I mean, but the big one for me is she's going, come on, we can do it outside of law. We'll just be a dictator. I mean, whoa. These are the people that under the law, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, we don't just have a right, but a duty to resist, and we don't even want to go to war with them. They're coming to war with us. Why do you think, and I want to go to the other guys, why do you think they've gone from denying this, but behind the scenes doing it in every other country, every blue city, to now admitting we're coming to take your guns, we're taking your kids, and we're going to teach them to chop their genitals off. I mean, these people are just, and I've got a 7-minute video we heard today of Democrats going, I love to kill my baby, especially little girls. I love to stand over their dead body. And I've got articles where they take photos of the dead bodies and the women celebrate it and have sex with their boyfriend and get me pregnant again. I'm going to kill another little bastard. And like I'm watching, this is like, and they're on TV going, get that little bastard on Netflix and just rip them. I mean, it's not Hellraiser. It's not a fake movie. These people are literally psychotics.
Well, if you go back, it's sort of very much like the Burkean critique of the French Revolution, which is that once you abandon standards, abandon traditions, abandon religion, abandon certain community ideas and ideals that have been here with our history and precedent forever, once you abandon sort of Gary Will's understanding of conservatism, which he documented in his brilliant book, Nixon Agonistes, once you do that, you have no standards, and you end up with guillotine culture. And the guillotine culture that just guillotines.
Because the very worst takes over. You sink right to the worst, and the worst take charge.
Because you have to out-radical what was radical. You have to become even more radical. And you say, okay, how do we... Well, first we killed off the princes and the popes and the kings. Okay, well, who do we kill off next? Well, we start killing off commoners. Well, that's not really enough. Let's start killing off each other. I mean, that's what the French Revolution
was. Well, that farmer's got a better crop than me. I'll just murder him.
Exactly. It's sort of where Mugabe went with the sort of craziness of his policies and politics. And it's about power, the worship of power, and the lack of respect for certain tradition and limits on the abuse and misuse of power.
Because Christianity in its real form is about limits on that and not running over people. And instead, Christianity's now been about letting the evil run over you. Amazing points.